Chosen one, listen closely. There are moments in life when the world thinks your story is finished. They see you fall. They watch the dust rise. They whisper that you will never stand again. But what they forget is that God never buries his children. He plants them. And when God plants you, you rise in a way no human hands can stop. They thought they walked away victorious. They thought leaving you in that storm meant they had the upper hand. They twisted your name, broke your peace, and painted themselves as the wounded one while you carried the weight of truth alone. But what they did not understand is that heaven keeps perfect records. Nothing hidden stays hidden forever. In Proverbs 12:19, it says, "Truthful lips endure forever, but a lying tongue lasts only a moment." That means every act of manipulation, every distorted story, every attempt to turn people against you comes with a timer. And it is finally running out. Right now, the smoke of their actions is trailing back to them. People are beginning to notice the cracks. Conversations are shifting. Quiet doubts are becoming open questions. The mask they wore so confidently is slipping. When you build your world on deception, it eventually collapses on its own. That is not revenge. That is divine order. Psalm 37 reminds us, "Do not fret because of evildoers. Trust in the Lord and do good, and he will bring forth your righteousness like the dawn." Chosen one, your dawn is coming. What was meant to break you is becoming the very proof of your strength. What felt like abandonment is turning into protection. Some people were removed because their hands were never meant to hold your destiny. You survived the fire they set. And here is the miracle. The flames did not destroy you. They refined you. They revealed what was real inside you. They taught you who you are and who you never need to be again. So breathe. Release the bitterness. Let God finish the chapter he started in you. You are stepping into a season where clarity replaces confusion, where peace replaces fear, and where purpose replaces pain. Isaiah 61 speaks of beauty for ashes and the oil of joy for mourning. That is your portion now. And as you rise, do not be surprised when some people suddenly remember your name. Do not be surprised when the same ones who counted you out begin to watch you more closely. God is lifting you in plain sight. Now, as you step into this divine role, I invite you to declare your readiness. Type 777 in the comments as a way of saying you are prepared for what God is bringing. You are choosing growth instead of anger. You are choosing peace instead of war. You are choosing your calling instead of your past. And to every single one of you who comments, who leaves a prayer, who shares your heart, thank you. Even if we cannot reply to each message, know that your journey matters. You are not unseen. You are not abandoned. God walks with you in every step. Stay with me until the very end of this video, because we will close with a powerful prayer that will speak strength into your spirit for today. Chosen one, hear this. Every one of us carries a light that was not given by people, but placed in us by God. And when others try to hide that light, when they twist your truth or drag your name through shadows, heaven begins to take notice in ways we often cannot see. Your strength, your endurance, your quiet prayers, they are not wasted. They are part of a larger story that God himself is writing. This was never just a breakup. It was not simply two people parting ways. Something in this experience cut deeper because it was aimed at your spirit, not just your heart. There are people who leave quietly, and then there are people who leave loudly, stirring drama as if chaos is their final gift. Your ex chose the loud exit. They walked away in a storm they created, joining hands with people who feed off confusion and gossip. They turned your pain into something they could perform in front of others, and they expected you to crumble under the weight of their show. Yet, you did not give them that satisfaction. Instead, you moved with silence, you moved with dignity, and you moved with God. You stood still long enough for heaven to observe what happened to you. Psalm 34:17 says, "The righteous cry out, and the Lord hears them. He delivers them from all their troubles." God heard the things you never said out loud. God saw the things you tried to carry alone. And now the things hidden in darkness are being brought into the light. Everything they whispered, everything they twisted, every digital trace they left behind is becoming part of a truth they can no longer outrun. When a person spends too long pretending, their story eventually collapses under its own weight. And that is what you are seeing now. Not revenge, but revelation. The kind that peels away masks and exposes what was never real to begin with. There is a moment in the story of Joseph in Genesis where he is betrayed by his own brothers. They tried to destroy him, threw him into a pit, sold him into slavery, and walked away as if they had won. But what they meant for harm, God used for elevation. Joseph rose from the pit to the palace because God saw everything. Your journey mirrors that pattern. People may have tried to bury you, but God is building you. And something powerful is happening now. The people who once believed the lies are beginning to sense the truth. The ones who fed on gossip are stepping back. The charm your ex used to manipulate others no longer lands the same. Their words are being weighed, measured, and questioned, not because you said anything, but because truth has a sound of its own. Isaiah 29:15 says, "Woe to those who go to great depths to hide their plans from the Lord, who do their work in darkness and think, 'Who sees us? Who will know?'" These hidden intentions, the quiet cruelty, the manipulative performances, they were never invisible. God watched the entire script. And now, heaven is editing the story. You may not know this, but many people go through a similar experience. I once heard about someone who left a toxic relationship after years of emotional manipulation. She said the most powerful moment of her healing came not when the person apologized, because they never did, but when she realized she no longer needed anything from them. Her peace became her closure, and that peace changed her entire life. You are walking into that same freedom. The shift you feel in your spirit is real. It is the weight lifting. It is clarity arriving. It is God untangling you from someone who was never meant to hold your future. Right now, the walls that once protected your ex's lies are cracking. The stories they told are being examined by people who see details they never noticed before. Their behavior is catching up with them because patterns do not lie. People can pretend for a season, but not forever. Sooner or later, everything unravels. You may wonder why everything is happening now. It is because timing belongs to God. Ecclesiastes 3:1 tells us, "To everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven." Your season of confusion has ended. Your season of exposure, alignment, and justice has begun. Do not let their returning guilt pull you backward. Do not let their excuses or sudden softness confuse your path. Their crisis is not your calling. Your job now is to keep moving forward with a clear heart and a steady spirit. What is unfolding is not about destroying them, it is about freeing you. The truth is stepping forward in ways you do not even have to lift your hand to reveal. Let God continue to work. Let the story unfold. Let your heart breathe. What is coming next in your journey is greater than what you lost, greater than what they tried to take, and greater than anything you imagined during the pain. Walk with peace now. Walk with strength. Your healing is not a hope. It is already happening. Chosen one, let this truth settle in your heart. You never needed to fight dirty. You never needed to match their chaos. Your power came from something they could never imitate. While they used noise, you used growth. While they reached for manipulation, you reached for God. And now, the structures they built on lies are collapsing under their own weight. They can twist the story again. They can scramble for new excuses. They can try to rewrite the past, but none of it will stand, because truth, when backed by clarity and time, becomes something no one can silence. You never needed revenge. You needed distance, and that distance became your protection. They played with fire, believing the flames would only burn you. But fire is not loyal to the one who lights it. It spreads until it consumes the source. What they meant to use against you is now circling back, burning through the illusions they created. Every lie, every false image, every whisper meant to wound you is dissolving in the same blaze they set. They thought your silence meant defeat. They mistook your patience for weakness, but your quiet was your shield. While they chased attention, you rebuilt your spirit. While they added fuel to drama, you added faith to your foundation. And now, everything they tried to destroy in you is rising stronger than before. You survived a season that tried to break your identity. They aimed not just at your heart, but at your dignity. They used your vulnerability as a playground and your loyalty as leverage. What looked like love was never love. It was control wrapped in affection. And when control is stripped away, the truth comes out. There is a story in Scripture that mirrors this moment. In 1 Samuel, King Saul tried to destroy David out of jealousy and insecurity. David did nothing but serve with loyalty. Yet Saul hurled spears, spread rumors, chased him through wilderness. David did not fight back with hatred. He let God handle what his own hands did not need to touch. And in the end, Saul fell by the weight of his own actions, while David rose because of the purity of his heart. Your story carries that same pattern. You are rising not because of what they did, but because of how you chose to respond. And look at what is happening now. The very things they used to mock you for are the things they now envy. The strength they ignored is the strength they now lack. The peace they mistook for weakness is the peace they cannot replicate. Their world is shaking because the foundation they built was hollow. Yours is steady because it was built in truth. You ever notice how everything seems to unravel for someone when the season of pretending ends, when the mask grows too heavy to hold? That is what you are witnessing, not coincidence, not luck, divine timing. Luke 8:17 says, "There is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be known or brought out into the open." The truth always finds its moment. And this is that moment. They did not simply walk away from you. They waged emotional warfare in a disguise of affection. They turned your tears into entertainment and your trust into a tool. But even now, God is using what they meant for harm as the soil for your healing. You are growing in places they expected you to wither. They mistook your compassion for naivety. They thought your forgiveness was permission. They believed you would always come back because your heart was soft. But compassion is not weakness. Forgiveness is not surrender. And your heart, though gentle, is covered in the armor of someone God protects fiercely. Their greatest shock is not the consequences, it is your rise. While they tried to keep you small, you expanded. While they waited for your fall, you kept climbing. While they searched for proof of your downfall, they found evidence of your healing. Their life now feels off balance because control has slipped from their hands. They are overwhelmed, not because they feel remorse, but because exposure strips away every illusion they built. People around them see the cracks. Conversations change, doors close, their own patterns betray them. You were never weak for loving deeply. You were strong for surviving what was designed to break you. Your emotions were not a burden. They were proof that you are real in a world filled with people afraid of their own truth. There is a line in Psalm 126 that says, "Those who sow in tears will reap with joy." Your tears were seeds, seeds of wisdom, resilience, clarity, and protection. And now you are stepping into the season of harvest. They once laughed at your brokenness. Now they hide from the reflection of their own. They once dismissed your worth. Now they feel the emptiness created by your absence. What they called too emotional was actually a heart capable of depth they could not match. What they called dramatic was simply a soul that felt honestly while theirs hid behind an act. You were their calm. You were their grounding. You were the one place they found real love, even when they did not know how to receive it. And now that you are gone, their world echoes with the silence they feared. Everyday moments feel hollow. New faces feel shallow. They crave the peace they once mocked. This is not punishment. This is revelation. This is the truth rearranging everything around you. This is the turning of a chapter that was never meant to last. And this time, chosen one, you are stepping forward without fear, without doubt, and without the weight of their chaos clinging to your spirit. Your story is shifting, and this shift is only the beginning. Chosen one, listen closely. When someone tries to replace what was real with what is temporary, they unknowingly walk themselves into a wilderness of their own making. They thought they traded you for something better, something easier, something more exciting. But all they did was swap truth for illusion. And illusion never survives pressure. Now they sit in crowded rooms, but feel more alone than they ever did with you. Because real connection is not loud. It is steady. It is honest. It is soul to soul. They lost that without realizing it. You were not just another person in their life. You were the one place their spirit rested. You were the blessing they mishandled, the peace they mistook for weakness. They entertained shallow bonds, thinking those could replace what you carried inside you. They did not understand that your presence was not something they stumbled upon. It was something God placed in their life for a reason. Proverbs 18:22 teaches that true favor is a gift, not a coincidence. But favor can be lost when it is disrespected. They chased after shiny distractions that cracked under the weight of their own emptiness. Fake laughs, forced conversations, surfaces with no depth. Nothing sticks because nothing compares. They walked away from living water like the woman at the well in John 4, who kept drawing from wells that could not quench her soul. Except, unlike her, they did not stay long enough to recognize what was pure. They walked away, believing they would find more, only to discover that everything else leaves them thirsty. And now regret is the air they breathe. Not just regret for losing you, but regret for losing the version of themselves they became when they were around your light. You did not weaken them, you covered them. You shielded them from storms they never realized were circling. You were standing between them and consequences, between them and confusion, between them and their own unraveling. They mocked the calm you carried, never seeing that your calmness was the very barrier keeping them steady. But when they pushed you away, that covering lifted. And now everything is collapsing. Doors that once opened easily are shutting. Friendships that once seemed strong are fracturing. Plans that seemed secure are falling apart. Not because you wished it, but because that is what happens when someone throws away the protection they never even understood. They lived in borrowed light, and the moment they stepped out of it, the shadows returned. It is like tossing aside an umbrella in the middle of a storm and then acting surprised when the rain soaks every part of their life. Isaiah 60 speaks of light and covering, how God places brightness on some and removes it from others. Your absence did not just remove companionship, it removed grace they took for granted. They went silent not because they won, but because they felt the weight of their own guilt pressing on their chest. People do not ghost those they feel at peace with. They ghost the ones who saw too much. They ghost the ones who know the truth. Their silence was a confession they were too afraid to speak. And now that silence has grown into a prison. You cannot run from truth. You cannot block conviction. You cannot erase guilt with a swipe of the finger. It stays. It breathes. It whispers in quiet moments. It crawls into the mind late at night. They tried to bury the truth, but now feel it rising inside them like something they can no longer control. Psalm 32 speaks of hidden guilt as a heavy hand pressing down day and night, draining strength. That is exactly what they are experiencing. They once celebrated disappearing from your life, but now they are the ones being haunted by everything unsaid. Their smiles feel forced. Their laughter feels thin. Their peace is gone because peace never belonged to them. It came from your presence. And when you withdrew, the stillness they used to enjoy turned into the noise they cannot silence. They underestimated the power of losing someone who carries spiritual weight. They thought they could push you past your limits without cost. But every act of disrespect has a price, and now they are paying it in ways they never expected. What once came easily now comes with struggle. What once felt stable now feels fragile. They tried to swap you for someone who could imitate your position, but you cannot replace a soul. You cannot mimic essence. You cannot copy spiritual alignment. They traded depth for surface, and surface always fades. The new connection lacks the warmth you carried, the understanding, the peace that settled in the room when you walked in. It lacks the ability to read silence, to heal without words, to love with sincerity. They replaced authenticity with a costume, and now every moment reminds them of what they lost. It is like replacing a priceless piece of art with a cheap print. From a distance it looks similar, but up close the difference is undeniable. Now they feel that difference every day. Every hollow conversation, every awkward pause, every attempt to convince themselves they made the right decision. But the ache does not lie. The ache speaks a truth they cannot escape. They did not just damage your heart, they tried to damage your name. They rewrote stories, painted themselves as the victim, twisted perceptions to hide their choices. But lies do not build futures. Lies build traps. And they walked right into one, because the truth always rises, and the truth is beginning to surround them now. Even the people they swayed with drama are noticing cracks in their narrative, patterns repeating, behaviors returning, stories not lining up. The same strategies they used on you are now being used on others, and those others are speaking up. It is no longer about your word against theirs. It is their own life revealing what was hidden. And as everything unfolds, you rise free. Because your story was never tied to their chaos. It was tied to your calling. And that calling is leading you into a future they can no longer follow. Chosen one, the truth is unfolding in ways even you did not expect. People who once accepted every story your ex told are now comparing notes. They are whispering the same sentence over and over. They did this to me, too. The same audience that once applauded their performance is waking up from the illusion. The truth has begun to ripple through the spaces they thought they controlled. They spent so long poisoning your name that they never realized poison is a circle. It always returns to the one who mixed it. And now they are tasting the bitterness of their own words. You stayed silent. You kept your dignity. And that silence did what no argument could. Because when someone throws dirt on a clean heart, the dirt never sticks. It falls back onto the one who threw it. The bridges they thought they could burn without consequence are the same paths they now need to cross again. But those bridges have turned to ashes. People who once clung to their words now hesitate. Their charm is losing its shine. Their stories are losing power. The manipulation they used to perform so easily is becoming transparent. And this shift is driving them into chaos. Because nothing terrifies someone built on lies more than the moment people start seeing the truth. They were so busy trying to tear down your reputation that they never protected their own. They poured everything into painting you as broken, unaware that your glow would one day become the evidence that their narrative was false. The transformation in you, the brightness around you, The peace you carry now has become too loud for anyone to ignore. Their version of who you were no longer matches the person standing in front of the world today. That contrast is what exposes them without you saying a single word. You never needed revenge. You never needed to defend yourself in every room. Your growth became your testimony. Your peace became your protection. Your evolution became your voice. There is a passage in Isaiah 54:17 that says, "No weapon formed against you will prosper, and every tongue that rises against you will be condemned." That is what is happening now. The lies they forged rose like weapons, but none of them landed. Not because you fought, but because the truth fought for you. And now, the same rooms they once dominated have become places of discomfort. Every glance feels sharper. Every paused conversation leaves them uneasy. They sense the shift. They feel the doubt around them. The same charm they used to manipulate others is falling flat. The aura that once impressed people now raises suspicion. This is what happens when a mask begins to crack. They intended to isolate you, to turn people against you, to leave you standing alone. But look at the irony. They are the ones feeling the cold distance now. The lies they told have started to unravel, thread by thread, and they are standing in the center of a story collapsing on all sides. Meanwhile, you have become untouchable. You did not match their chaos. You did not chase them with explanations. You did not play the game they set up for you. You rose above it all, and your rise has become the proof no one can deny. Their attempt to destroy you only revealed who they truly were. You were never the problem. You were the mirror they could not face. Your sincerity exposed their lack of sincerity. Your loyalty highlighted their inconsistency. Your heart uncovered their emptiness. When you walked away, you broke a cycle that once controlled your life. And the moment you stopped responding, they lost their power. Without access to your energy, their version of the story began to crumble. Because lies cannot survive when the truth starts growing. The gap between who they claimed you were and who you truly are has become too wide to hide. That gap is what is damaging their image now. They described you as broken, but you emerged stronger. They painted you as unstable, but your life is steady and flourishing. They predicted your downfall, but your elevation became the headline. There is a moment in the story of Daniel when he was falsely accused and thrown into the lion's den. His enemies celebrated too soon, but God shut the mouths of the lions, and Daniel walked out unharmed. When the king saw the truth, the very accusers who plotted against Daniel were exposed and faced the consequences of their own traps. That is the pattern unfolding around your life now. You walked out of the fire untouched, and the ones who tried to throw you in are standing in the smoke. People can feel the shift, even if they do not say it out loud. They sense the weight of truth in the air. The charm your ex once used to influence others is fading. The certainty in their voice is cracking. The confidence in their stories is slipping. And behind all of it, they are wrestling with the realization that their own lies are now working against them. You became the quiet contrast, the living reminder that truth outlasts deception. Where they are unraveling, you are rising. Where they are losing trust, you are gaining clarity. Where their relationships are breaking, yours are strengthening. You have become the example of what divine justice looks like when a pure heart chooses growth over revenge. This moment is your confirmation. Everything they tried to use to break you has become the foundation of your rise. Every lie they told is revealing their character, not yours. Every attempt to sabotage you has turned into a lesson for others to recognize who they really are. Your name remains clean, untouched, unshaken, but their name, once spoken with confidence, now carries caution. Not because you exposed them, but because life did, because time did, because truth always does. They did not just lose you, they lost every ounce of trust that came with you. They lost the version of themselves they pretended to be. And that chosen one, is the deepest justice life can offer. Your story is no longer about what they did to you. It is about who you became in the aftermath. And who you are becoming now is someone they can never replace and never recover from. Chosen ones, before we close this message, I want to speak directly to your heart. Thank you for being here, for choosing healing when life tried to hand you hurt, and for showing up with a spirit that refuses to be broken. Your presence in this space is not an accident. Every time you press play, every time you listen with an open heart, you become part of something sacred. This channel was created to remind you of your strength, your worth, and the light inside you that no betrayal can dim. To every soul who has walked through heartbreak, confusion, or seasons where you felt unseen, thank you for allowing these videos to accompany you on your journey. Thank you for trusting these words to guide you, comfort you, and speak life back into places that once felt empty. Your resilience inspires every message shared here. Your stories, your faith, your quiet victories, they are the heartbeat of this channel. And as we continue to grow together, I want you to know that you are not walking through any of this alone. This is a space for rebuilding, for rising, for remembering who you are after everything tried to make you forget. If the messages here have brought you clarity, strength, or even just a moment of peace in a chaotic world, then every second spent creating them is worth it. So, if this journey speaks to your spirit, I invite you to subscribe and stay close. Not out of obligation, but because there are more messages ahead that are crafted to uplift you, protect your heart, and remind you of your God-given power. There are more videos coming that will help you step out of old pain and into new purpose. More guidance, more healing, more truth. Your support helps this space continue to grow, reaching others who need the same reassurance, the same encouragement, the same reminder that they are chosen and covered. Thank you for giving your time, your presence, your energy. Thank you for standing with this channel and for standing strong in your own story. Stay connected, stay grounded, and stay ready, because what comes next in your journey is greater than everything you have walked through before.